Hello, my name is Victoria Di Francesco Soto, and I am Dean of the Clinton School of Public Service here in Little Rock. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome you to the 2022 Advancing Equity Awards, commemorating the National Day of Racial Healing and honoring changemakers from across the nation who are having impact in their communities in advancing racial equity. This award was established by the Center on Community Philanthropy here at the Clinton School. The center was established alongside the school in order to institutionalize equity, in order to bring together rigorous research and at the same time, the voices, the needs, and the insights of folks in our communities. What we have seen grow over the last 15 years is an amazing model of community and philanthropy coming together in an effective model. What we see here is across the country, amazing models of philanthropy and community work together. But what I do want to boast about as the Dean of the Clinton School is that in no other place do we have a center on community philanthropy that is based in the South and that is intentionally focused on the needs and the advancement of persons here in this region. All of this work could not be possible without the leadership of Dr. Charlotte Williams. Dr. Charlotte Williams has led the center over the last 15 years. She's an incredible woman that has beautifully woven together the research, the voices, the impact making that is so desperately needed, not just here in the American South, but across the country, and has become a model across not just the nation, but across the world of what can happen when we bring together these different forces. Before I turn it over to Dr. Williams, I want to thank the W.K. Kellogg Foundation for believing in us. The W.K. Kellogg Foundation has been with us since almost the beginning in investing in our impact work and allowing for us here at the Clinton School and the Center on Community Philanthropy to institutionalize equity work, because equity work is something that requires deep roots and a deep foundation to then have impact and outreach. And lastly, I want to thank you. I want to thank the nominees who are doing the hard work in your communities on the ground. To you, I thank you. I say gracias. And with that, I turn it over to Dr. Williams.
I'm Charlotte Williams, Professor and Director of the Center on Community Philanthropy at the Clinton School of Public Service. I want to welcome each of you to our 2022 Advancing Equity Awards ceremony. I'd first like to start by thanking the W.K. Kellogg Foundation for creating this national call for racial healing. 6 years ago, when the W.K. Kellogg Foundation first established the National Day of Racial Healing, I think we could see the need for racial healing. But now, as a result of the events of late, I believe we can feel the need for racial healing. And even though we're unable to meet in person this year, this virtual ceremony, it's done in solidarity as evidence that this work must continue. Here at the Center on Community Philanthropy, we are so excited for the 2022 Advancing Equity Awards. We received 41 applications from organizations all over the country. And I want to thank our selection committee for their tireless review of each and every application. These organizations showcased the racial healing work that's already underway everywhere. They remind us that systems have to be challenged to be changed. They showcase for us the anchor of racial healing lies in communities, grassroots efforts, with local leaders who understand the needs of vulnerable people and who make working to achieve equity core to the mission of what they do. And that is why we created the Advancing Equity Awards, to publicly acknowledge these organizations and recognize them for the amazing work that they are doing to create racial healing and equitable, sustainable change. Now, it's important to remember that this award is not a leadership award, although leadership is very important. This is not a humanitarian award, although humanitarian efforts are vital. This award is for those who would beat back the forces of intolerance and embrace the spirit of giving and innovation to create healing and social change. Now is the time, and today is the day. We will announce the recipients of the 2022 Advancing Equity Award. Thank you and enjoy the ceremony.
My name is Donald Wood, and I'm the interim executive director of Just Communities of Arkansas, or JCA. And JCA was very honored to be the 2021 recipient, or one of the 2021 recipients of the Advancing Equity Awards. And it's been it's had an important impact on us this year around what we feel is one of the most important parts of advancing racial equity, and that's building individual change makers' capacity to lead change. JCA, we know it's critically important to focus on the institutional change that needs to happen in order to advance racial equity, addressing policies and structures and laws that influence and impact equity. But we feel it's equally important to help do the work with those that are actually creating, advocating for, enforcing, reviewing those laws and procedures and policies. And so that's why the Advancing Equity Award and receiving that award was so important to us, to kind of help validate that work that we're doing with individual capacity building training through our culture change facilitator training and certification program. That Advancing Equity Award has been a kind of a light, I guess you could say, and shining on that importance of how difficult and challenging, but critically important and urgent that this racial equity work is, especially in Arkansas. Say that there was a lesson or lessons learned from the work that we've been doing over the past year, because we've been doing equity work at JCA in some form or fashion for almost 60 years now, but particularly focusing on dismantling systemic racism and other forms of oppression over these past 5 years. And in 2021, it was no different. And, if anything of what we learned from the work that the Center on Community Philanthropy does and others do alongside JCA is that we've got to be strategic and intentional. At the same time, we need to be bold and be willing to take risks and innovate, realize that we are going to make mistakes and fail forward, have patience and grace, but at the same time, hold each other accountable for this work, because people are not only suffering, but literally dying from racism every day. And it's that important that we keep that in mind as we do this work. And although we want to celebrate awards like this, we also want to leverage awards like this to advance the work of eliminating the dehumanization of people simply because of the color of the skin or because of who they are.
My name is Stephen Koger, and I am the executive director and founder of Arkansas Immigrant Defense. AID has been around since 2015. Our primary focus is serving children, teenagers, minors who have survived trafficking or violence, and who are immigrants or refugees and have made it to Arkansas. Maybe they were resettled by the Office of Refugee Resettlement to Arkansas, or maybe they were brought here by family members or parents. Whatever the case, they've made it to Arkansas, and it's our mission to get them access to health care, stop their deportation proceedings, and get them on a path to citizenship. I want to tell you just a little bit about how the Advancing Equity Award impacted aid in our work through the lens of a single story of a client that we're going to call her Jenny. It's a pseudonym, but it'll give you an idea of how the Advancing Equity Award impacted aid and our work for our client communities. So we get a lot of referrals from the children's advocacy centers across the state, Batesville, Russellville, other places where we have these partnerships. But a major source of referrals is also the Arkansas Children's Hospital in Little Rock. They have an amazing team of social workers, some of whom are bilingual, which is extra beneficial for our clients and for us. And one of their social workers reached out last year and explained that they had a patient who needed to be an aid client who had survived some terrible sex trafficking that was actually facilitated by her father, which is lamentably not an uncommon scenario. So this young girl was also pregnant and in deportation proceedings. And so when I got the call, we worked with a social worker to arrange an intake. This young person is very shy and hesitant to share her story. And part of it is just not being comfortable with people she doesn't know, but part of it also was a language barrier. The young person speaks Cachiquel, which is a regional Mayan dialect from Guatemala. And so her Spanish isn't super strong. And so we were working through multiple obstacles. But thankfully, the social worker at Arkansas Children's facilitated everything from the Zoom meetings to getting the paperwork signed for the circuit court in Pulaski County, working with the petitioner, the proposed guardian, who is now the guardian of this young girl, to get us everything in a timely way so that we could get to court. We did go to court there in downtown Little Rock with the girl and the petitioner, with Jenny and the petitioner, and it was fabulous. The judge was very supportive, very kind, and she let us walk out of that courtroom with a guardianship order that would allow Jenny's guardian to get her in school, to enroll her in Medicaid, and both of those things have been done. Jenny has also had her baby since then, and the baby's doing well. Jenny has a work permit coming in the mail any day now. She's enrolled in Our Kids First. Once she turns 18, she'll continue to be eligible for Medicaid till she turns 21, thanks to the Immigrant Children's Health Improvement Act. And this is the sort of work that AID gets to do every day. It's AID's mission to create that Medicaid eligibility for these young folks, to stop their deportation proceedings back to places where they're not safe, and to get them on a path to citizenship. And the Advancing Equity Award really made that possible for several young people. I do take a lot of encouragement from thinking about what this work might mean for young people once they have access to healthcare, once they're attending school, getting food at school. It can be a life-changing event that they then have the capacity to heal from their adverse childhood experiences and become the person that they most are, and achieve their full potential and change the world in ways that maybe involve direct action or community organizing, or these really exciting things that allow us to move society forward in a bigger way that is hard to do when you're hungry and traumatized and don't have access to a doctor. And so giving young people this chance, I think, means a lot. And I know everybody at Arkansas Immigrant Defense feels a lot of gratitude for the Advancing Equity Award and the work it has allowed us to do for young people from DeQueen to Dardanelle and Danville and Little Rock and Batesville, just all through South, Central, and Eastern Arkansas. So thank you all very much. If anyone would like to visit more about AID, They can visit aidarkansas.com or defensadeemigrantes.com or email me, Stephen Koger. And thank you so, so much.
Thank you to our 2021 Advancing Equity Award recipients. We are so proud of the amazing work you have done in your community. I am Leandra Sanders, the Senior Administration Fiscal Director for the Center on Community Philanthropy here at the Clinton School of Public Service. The Advancing Equity Award is given annually to organizations that are committed to equity work in their communities. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2022 Advancing Equity Award recipients. The first recipient of the 2022 Advancing Equity Award is an organization committed to developing leaders in the Mississippi Delta. For 20 years, the organization has provided rigorous college preparatory, after school, and summer programming for students. Founded by Teach for America alums, the organization engages youth in the rich civil rights history of the Delta to teach them about the adversity their ancestors faced and how they can apply those lessons of triumph in their communities today. The organization aims to address the deep inequalities in Sunflower County and advance progress towards academic and social inclusion for its youth. Our first recipient is Sunflower County Freedom Project. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We have been around for 25 years now. We were founded by 3 TFA teachers who just got together and decided that they wanted to see, a little change in the way their students, are grounded. One thing that we were really big on was we were founded on the lead principles. And what we display as the lead principles is the L is for love. So we always teach our fellows to show love, not only to themselves, but to their surroundings, to their community, to anything they're involved in. We enforce education. We do want them to be, leaders when it comes down to receiving education. Action, we express, to them all the time, take it upon themselves to, be that leader that they need to be. And discipline, of course, it takes discipline to do anything. So we always teach them to be, responsible for any action that they make. So we were founded on those principles that our fellows still hold dear to them. We teach them to be bold, don't mind, learning what's out there. Get out there and actually be leaders and not be afraid to, first off, ask for help when they need it, not to be afraid of what others think about them, not to second guess themselves, or anything in just life. So I have seen that it teach them life skills, things they should know, as individuals. And I just noticed when we actually go and view these things, yes, it educates them on their past, but it also teaches them to, do better in their personal, decisions, even, in their classrooms. If they're experiencing issues, they are not afraid to just step out and say, this is not right, or I need help in this, or I think, you should do this. Like, they learn to voice their opinions in different situations.
The next recipient of the 2022 Advancing Equity Award is an organization committed to engaging people, connecting resources, and inspiring solutions to build communities. Since 1976, they have provided support and partnered with thousands of people in communities to help them improve their neighborhoods, towns, and state. In 2021, this organization partnered with a local collaboration to support Black-led and Black-serving nonprofits explicitly designed to impact Black communities. In addition, the organization published Arkansans Working to Close the Equity Gap, where they featured nonprofits, individuals, small business owners, and local community leaders working to identify inequality and move toward racial equity. This organization pursues to provide support to Black-led and Black-serving organizations in one of the state's poorest areas, the Arkansas Delta. Our next 2022 Advancing Equity Award recipient is the Arkansas Community Foundation. Congratulations.
Thank you. Arkansas Community Foundation was formed in '76 as a statewide community foundation working in all 75 counties across the state. And the idea was to use philanthropy to build stronger communities, to bring the community foundation concept to the entire state. And we've been doing that work and doing it effectively ever since then. In the mid-'80s, we really focused in on our value system of local people making local decisions. Arkansas Community Foundation was selected as one of 20 community foundations around the country. And we did not solicit it, but we were selected by them to receive $1 million and to grant that out into Central Arkansas into organizations that were Black-led and Black-serving. And so that was a great honor, and I think spoke a lot to our value system and how we work. And then really what we did with it, as a community foundation, and we've done this countless times. In fact, our affiliate system is another example, is rather than, just a few program officers, sitting here in the office trying to distribute those grants, we formed a committee that led the process. We supported it. We did communications on it, but it was a committee made up completely of people of color and African Americans that made all the decisions on the criteria for those grants, the amount of those grants, and certainly the grant recipients. So again, it's leveraging the partnership, and we were able to receive that money, but then handing it back and saying, here, let's find folks that understand and are a part of the community that we're trying to help, and let them be the decision makers.
Congratulations, Sunflower County Freedom Project and the Arkansas Community Foundation for becoming the 2022 Advancing Equity Award recipients. I am Kent Broughton, the Community Impact Officer and Equity Educator at the Clinton School Center on Community Philanthropy. I want to say thank you for joining us today for the Advancing Equity Award ceremony and celebrating the National Day of Racial Healing. The Advancing Equity Award ceremony is a moment, just a moment to honor the local efforts, collaborations, and innovations towards advancing racial equity and racial healing. However, we know that this moment is a part of a journey that does not stop or end here. To the individuals, communities, businesses, organizations, local and national, we uplift and recognize your committed efforts to create a more equitable place to live and thrive. And we uplift the much needed healing work you are doing already within your communities. Your efforts are truly impacting people, families, and communities across this nation. However, we must remember, we are not alone in this effort and this journey towards racial equity and healing. We can and we are creating a better now and future together. So once again, I would like to say thank you for joining us for the Advancing Equity Award ceremony and celebrating the National Day of Racial Healing with us.